Tell you how that came about. No, you actually. I was on the bullying squad. I wasn't the giver, but the receiver. And so, yeah, yeah. I was so awkward. I was tall and lanky and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with myself, and it was just all wrong.
Right.
It was all wrong. I was just awkward. Support system. My grandmother was like, listen, as long as they don't put their hands on you, you ain't got no problem. If they put their hands on you, you know what you need to do. You better not come back here. If you lose, you better not come back here and tell me about it.
The misconception is that being a gentleman is just about being polite or courteous to women. In actuality, to be a true gentleman means that you have respect for your fellow man, so it encompasses men and women. Style is something that you evolve into. It's about your personality. It's about how you live your life.
Welcome to the next episode of the Gentleman of Style Show. I'm Baldwin.
And I'm Creech. And today we got a great show for you guys. It's going to be animated a little bit. Got one of my favorite
Why are you going to go straight to animation?
It's a little bit animated because our guest today, she's vibrant. She's animated. She's not sticking to mud. You know what I'm talking about?
But that's yet to be seen. I mean,
Eh.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, we'd like to welcome to the Gentleman of Style Show, Tabitha Simmons. Welcome. It's good to see you. I'm glad you could join us. You brought all this nice, lovely rain here. I love the rain, though, by the way.
I think y'all brought it here.
You know, growing up, I always said whenever it rains, I think that's a good way for the earth to get refreshed. It kind of cleans everything out. I always appreciate it when it rains.
Absolutely.
That's all I really appreciate.
Except when you have to drive in that.
Yeah, I don't like driving in the rain, especially at nighttime.
That's just me.
I can't see as it is. So
So Tabitha, let's kick it off by kind of give our people some background. Who is Tabitha Simmons? Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Sumter, South Carolina, little town, Sumter, South Carolina. Ooh, don't listen. I can hear people now. You from Sumter?
We got a good friend from Sumter.
Isn't there like good fishing in Sumter, South Carolina? I hear this. Oh, you don't fish either. I just heard it was good
I know
fish.
they like the fish out there. I know it's good fishing. That's what they say.
That's what they say. Oh.
But I'm from Sumter, South Carolina. Grew up a large family
Mm-hmm.
of 6. I'm the oldest of 6. 4 boys and 2 girls.
4 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah.
What about the other girl? Is she right after you, or is
My
she just...
sister, it's me, 4.
Okay, she's number
Actually
4.
Yeah, she's 4.
Oh, okay.
So were you the mother bear to all the youngers?
Yes, so much response. Don't even remind me. You liable to make me have a flashback. Don't remind me.
Yeah. Are all those guys still down in Sumter, or are they spread out across the U.S.?
2 of them are still in Sumter. I've got 1 in California. Actually 3 in Sumter, 1 in California, and 1 in Fort Stewart, Georgia. His wife is in the military, so they're in Fort Stewart.
All right, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
So what was it like growing up there? Like your fondest memories of big family. So
believe it or not, I grew up with my grandparents. My grandparents raised me. I grew up a country girl. And I would say country girl, but I didn't fish. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. Now I didn't fish.
I got you.
My grandmother, she loved to fish,
Right.
but I did not. But growing up, I would say my fondest memories were the simplicity of being a child, where we had, my grandmother had when you go outside and that little washing machine that you roll the thing through.
Y'all had one of those?
Yeah, and the little wash thing with the ripples
you know
on
what?
it.
I got to one up you on that.
Come on now.
we had a wash board. It was like the board, it had the wood around it, then it had the jagged.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it is.
The one that you had to do like that.
The little
We
ripples.
had one of those.
We had one of those. You can't one up somebody who had the same thing.
Let me
I'm
come
just
with it
saying.
now. I'm
Okay,
gonna tell you
I'm
about
just
the pump outside, the water pump.
We had one of those too. The ones you had to pump like that.
Come on now.
First you had to prime it.
I was
You had
in
to
the
put water
city
in
You
the
can't
prime
drink it
it.
straight out.
We had no
You
pump.
can't
I
drink it
was
straight out.
city
It's dirty
Who didn't drink it straight out?
You can't drink that straight
I
out.
pump it
You have to
straight
get
out.
like 4 or 5
That's why he ain't right now.
You see?
That's
you
why he
see?
ain't right.
Yo,
Matter of
that ain't
fact,
right.
we had a well, and we threw a fish down there, right? I don't even know if that fish survived or not, But we used to get water out that well. We used to get water out that well all the time.
You threw the fish down there.
And then you drink water.
And then you
They
drink
would drink water out.
He said that's why it ain't right.
You
That's
ain't
why.
right. I knew there was a reason why you were always right.
Or
Like, it was
that
something
might
about
be
you.
why I'm right.
It could be. It
Might
could
be
be
wrong.
now. I must have did it wrong. I must have had something
You know,
wrong. I
fish
forgot to
oil,
drop
they
fish.
say fish oil is good for you, right?
I don't know about the whole fish.
Hey,
That was the whole fish.
yeah, it was old fish.
So you grew up in Sumner.
Yes.
What was the next step?
I went overseas with my parents when they came back home. I chose to go overseas. My dad wanted me to experience other cultures, other things, and be open-minded to so many other things other than being in Sumter. And I spent a lot of my time overseas. I don't think we got back here until like the early 90s. And went to high school and graduated and decided to just do everything I felt like doing until I got it right.
This is just me.
All right.
I view you as the popular girl in school. Am I correct?
You are incorrect.
I am.
You are incorrect.
You're
I am the no.
You know,
I used to be, but no. I'm gonna tell you how that came about. No, you actually. I was on the bullying squad. I wasn't the giver, but the receiver. And so
Really?
yeah. I was so awkward. I was tall and lanky and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with myself, and it was just all wrong.
right.
It was all wrong.
Sounds just awful.
I was just Indeed, no. It would surprise a lot of people when I talk about that, which is why I speak a lot about bullying, because I know what that's like. I went through it.
Well, how did you break out of that sequence where you made a transformation? You said you used to be an introvert, but now you're not an introvert.
It wasn't me. I'm very spiritual, but not religious so much. And what happened was, when you spend a lot of your time going in a certain direction in your life, and you realize later on in life that direction is not the direction you should be going in, and you've been through a lot, and you just say, listen, God, I need you to figure this out for me. I'm gonna let you do your thing, because clearly I've been going in the wrong direction. And things started to shift for me. And I definitely was never a people person. This right here, no. Was never a people person. I could not deal with people after going through so much growing up in high school. And so he put me at a job to where I had to be upfront and personal at a bank, marketing, dealing with people. And you know how people can be with their money.
Oh, yes.
You understand? And so that was the starting point for me to becoming what I was supposed to become.
And that dynamic. I used to sell cars.
Yeah.
I used to be a car, and then you're dealing with different people like all the time.
Yeah.
And it does have a way of opening you up if
Yes.
you are a shy person, you're introverted in that way. But you got to talk to them. You got to figure
You got
out.
to.
And everyone's different.
You're right.
And everything. So same thing that happened to you.
Same exact thing.
Yeah. That's a workable thing to bring you out of your shell in order to get you.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even at that, I still feel like I'm introverted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you said you're not anymore.
Well,
I don't think that ever
I
goes
think
away.
I'm partially.
Okay.
I prefer to, like in a crowd full of people, I probably prefer to be in my room, probably watching TV solo.
And you still an introvert then?
Yeah, I'm pretty much still.
You move into the other section only if you have to.
Only if I have to. When it involves stuff like this.
Right. But there's a dynamic where you can be both.
Yeah.
Because
that's what we're talking.
No, what I'm saying is, instead of like people always say, well, I'm an introvert, I'm an extrovert. Well, life balances you because you can be both, and there's no problem with that. It's just what do you choose to be at what time?
Yeah.
So for me, I've always been, I was the only child. So in theory, I ain't gonna say I didn't have a choice, but that's what my life was.
Yeah.
I didn't have brothers and sisters, I had some cousins, but it was all just me.
Right.
So for me, being an introvert, I mean, of course, I didn't know what it was then. That was just natural.
Hey, no way, I don't believe that.
This dude is not an introvert.
No, only child?
Yes, I'm an only child. So I was introvert because I learned to play by myself. I learned to do things by myself.
Yeah, all them old videos I've seen, you are definitely not. You talking
about when I got to high school. That's
you are not an introvert, man.
It was different when I got to high school.
There's no way.
When I got to high school, I learned to. There was a whole lot of stuff, but this is about her right now.
It is about her.
Yeah,
anyway, that's another conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. So, but yeah, being an introvert and being able to have that balance, it's a great thing. And when you talk about bullying, that is something that it's an age-old thing that seemingly got worse to the point where kids were committing suicide and bad things were happening.
Yeah.
So when you were going through that, did you have any kind of support system, or is it just something where you just kind of, the time just went by and you graduated and you kind of got away from that?
Yeah, I think there was no support system. My grandmother was like, listen, as long as they don't put their hands on you, you ain't got no problem. If they put their hands on you, you know what you need to do. You better not come back here. If you lose, you better not come back here and tell me about it. But it was more so, it's a very dark time for people. I can relate to. It's different being bullied back in the late 80s and early 90s than it is right now. I feel like kids nowadays, they don't have the patience to understand that in 6 years, this is where you could be in 6 years.
Right.
This is where they might be in 6 years. You just hang in there. Versus then, I think we understood a little bit more. It wasn't suicide and stuff like that amongst the African American. I don't want to say, I don't know if I could say that it wasn't as high as it is right now, but kids these days aren't playing. When they say they're going to do it 9 times out of 10, they're about to do it.
Yeah.
Back then, you deal with it. It's a little picking, they call it picking on you. We call it bullying now, but they pick on you, talk about you, they talk about you and stuff. And at that point, you just endure the best you can until things just change. And
what I was going to say, you mentioned that you talk to people about bullying. Now, since we're on that topic right now, you do it on a platform way, on a show, digitally. I mean, how do you do? What do you do? Is it a personal thing? You have programs that you construct? How you get that out there? How are you?
Right now, it was with teenagers, and before I could get started with everything
COVID
happened with COVID. And it put a stop to everything, and so
you're right there. You about to push out
right there, because I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I have a few of them that have gone through and that are still going through, and godchildren that are dealing with bullying for whatever the case may be. And we get together. I get the girls together, and we talk about it, and we have like a little counseling session and little girl conversations and stuff. So right when I was working on getting to that aspect, all of this is like.
I think a lot of people in the same boat because there's so many people that had things that they were going to do.
Yes.
2020, and I mean, we had some stuff that we wanted to do, and everything just comes to it. But sometimes it's for the right reasons. Hopefully, the things that are coming, it's going to be in an abundance next year. 2021 should be the best year ever. Hopefully,
hopefully.
Let's pray.
It can't be anymore. It's got to be better than 2020.
Let's hope. Yeah. So let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
Going from that stage. So now, with you being you host things, you're a radio personality. You do all these things. How did you get started in that field? Before we get into all that you do, how did you get started in that field?
The same thing. I just woke up one day and said, I realized that I could talk to people. When I started working at the bank and started becoming more people friendly, I realized that there was something about me, no matter how standoffish I was, there was something about me that made people come to me and tell me their life story or tell me what was wrong in hopes to try to find a solution. And it just kept happening. No matter how much I pushed it away, it just kept happening. And so fast forward to this point, it just kind of happened the same way. I said, you know what, since let me see if people will listen. And I called my brother, one of my brothers, he and I talked, the one in California, he and I talk frequently. And I said, well, how do you feel if I went live and, started telling my story and just kind of, speaking to people and talking to people, just being who I am? And he was like, only thing you can do is try. And the first time I tried, I think I had over 2,000 views, the very first video. And then I realized, okay, people want to hear what I have to say. So, and I think in the beginning it was a little difficult because people were clicking on it. I love honest, like I heard you say, your honest opinion. They were like, okay, well, she's attractive. Let me see if she's saying a little something. When you click on it, oh, she's saying something. And that's how that went. And it just evolved. And then I was taught that every day of your life is an interview. So you have to present yourself as such.
Absolutely.
And by me speaking the way I speak and my mannerisms and the way I talk and what I talk about, people were starting to watch. Certain people here, they were tagging this, and you never know where that video is and who's watching you at one particular time.
Right.
And that's how all of this came to be.
Well, tell us about your endeavors then, like the shows and all of that. Tell us about it.
I have got, the radio show, actually I was brought on by a fellow comedian that's in the Columbia area. He had seen my videos and was like, hey, I think you'd be a good co-host.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to co-host the show, and then he was like, nah, this ain't for me. You clearly need your own show. And so the station owner was like, yep, she needs, and I structured right then and there, probably took me a day. Never did it before in my life. Structured my entire radio show and was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then from that, in separation from that, I decided that it was probably best to maybe try to start my own thing. And with the help of my other half, which is the station owner right now, Mr. Lewis Pruitt, he decided, said, listen, because I was just going to walk away from it. I said, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. But what was for me was for me to have my own platform, because a lot of times people try to take advantage of you. I will say that. And people will, in a way of utilizing what you have to offer for their gain, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, give me one incident where you experienced where they tried to take something from you.
Oh, for Pete's sake, that's the story of my life. You've got a lot of people who, being new into radio, this was my first kind of thing. This person was profiting on the back end when it came to the radio shows and the views, and because it's based off of the views.
Was you selling like airspace or something like that, and not going through proper
No,
channels?
the ads were coming in, or the sponsors were coming in, and we had no idea until probably like a couple of months ago. Just everybody's listening. We got 2.7 million.
Right.
She's only been here a couple of months, and that's where the money comes in.
Right.
The more views you get, the more listeners
Absolutely.
you get. That's where the money was coming in, but we had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And the time came for me. It wasn't that for me walking away from that particular station. It was the misuse of my brand. I take what I built very seriously, and I wanted to be around people who, even when I wasn't there, respected my brand, and that wasn't the case.
Right.
And we had to sever our ties and move in a different direction.
No, that was the right thing to do.
Absolutely.
That was absolutely right.
Well, it's funny because I don't know what you posted one day. I was scrolling through Instagram, I think it was, and you had went live and you had posted something. And you were talking about business and how to, how you have to move in business with your brand and how important that is, and not to let people and that's how I first saw you.
Yeah.
And I, for whatever reason, I was scrolling and somehow, and I think I was tagged on something. Somebody tagged it, probably somebody that I know, and I looked at it and I was like, And so I just kept watching and I kept watching. I was like, okay, let me follow her because let's see what she's gonna do. So, and that's how I started following you, and I started, watching some of the stuff that you did. And I think one day you just, I guess, I don't even know if it was a show, but you had your wine and you were just playing old school joints, and I was like,
that's my Wine Down Wednesdays. I go live on Facebook with my fans. There's a lot of people that tune in on Wednesday night.
I guess so, because you was playing, you was hitting the hits, and I'm like, okay, I ain't got no wine up in here, but okay, all right, let's do this. And I'm just listening. I'm like, I'm doing some different stuff, and I'm listening to I was like, okay, yeah. So that's kind of how I've been following you before that, but when I saw that, I was like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the types of things that people need.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get so caught up in watching a bunch of silliness online that they forget there's real stuff
That's
out
right.
there.
You're
What I
right.
mean? Real quality stuff. So
Exactly. Something that you can gain from.
You're right.
And everything. Matter of fact, speaking of something they can gain from, how like, okay, you're obviously in the movement as far as what you're doing, and if someone wanted to like go in the direction that you're going, is it something like a word of advice that you could give them as far as how to, or is it something that, if they're in a certain place or doing a certain thing, should they take advantage of, when they see that certain thing, or should they move along and go to something else? I mean, what would you say? I mean, what would you?
I would absolutely say if you have an opportunity, if there is something that's on the table that you have wanted to do for a long time, do it. It's not going to be easy. You got to continue to push through. I talk a lot about hurdles and stepping stones and mountains and rivers that people have to cross, and you just can't give up under any circumstances. You have to continue to push through, even though it may seem like something deep down inside when something is for you. You just know it's something in you that knows this is for me. This is the direction I need to be going in. You just know. And I would tell people, if you are faced with being in a different position, you owe it to yourself to at least look underneath the rock. I posted this a couple of days on my Facebook. You owe it to yourself. Check underneath the rock. Climb the mountain and see what's on the other side. Cross the river and see what you're gonna get. You owe it to yourself.
Hold that thought. So, what about your next endeavor? We know about the radio show and all of that.
I have no idea. I tell people, it sounds funny when I say it, when people say, hey, what are your goals for the next couple of years? Where do you plan on being?
That's one thing I don't believe in. Like setting goals. I heard a smart person really say, actually a billionaire, he said this, and 9 times out of 10, they say don't listen to millionaires. They said millionaires are stingy because they're always trying to figure out how to keep money. He said listen to billionaires because they have so much money, it's excess, so they think in a totally different way on that. He said do not set goals because goals are limiting.
That's right.
If you set a goal, that means you get there and that's where you're
at.
Now what? Yeah, now what?
You're right.
He said don't set goals, just do what you do and keep pushing.
That's right.
Further, and further. Don't set goals. So, with that being said, you don't have any other endeavors that you're thinking about?
I have no idea what's on the table. It's a lot of things that are on the table. Everything is starting to hopefully slowly but surely open back up. I'm going in the way of hosting shows and hosting events, and with the TV show that's out, that's taking its own avenues and going this place and going that place. You just have to be open to all the possibilities.
I agree. You got to be open. On it. Get it, vet out whatever it is, see if it's something that's going to be right for you.
That's right.
And if it is, then roll with it, see how it works out. Because things are organic a lot of times. When you get in there, especially people that are out there trying to get started. And I don't believe that there are any bad ideals.
No.
I think you have to listen to ideals and understand that this is what it is, and then bring your own attitude, your own thought process to it. Because I think you can't form a perfect opinion by yourself. I think you need outside information in order to get to a point to where you can actually go that way. Maybe your ideal or your thought process was the right process, but you don't know that until you bet it against other things.
That's right.
You wouldn't know it.
I agree.
On that.
So, first of all, tell everybody the radio station that they can hear you on. Let's make sure that people know where to find you at first.
Absolutely. The radio station is called No Chill Radio. It's on 95.9 FM. And internet radio, of course. We're in the 2-point-something million, so we're worldwide. Everybody, even I have a lot of soldiers that listen, and that's the good part about that. There's so many of them that are listening, that are overseas.
That's a beautiful thing. That is actually a beautiful thing. So, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you about your organization. How are you set up? Are you set up in an LLC? How's your company formed?
As far as what's happening, my brand?
Your business structure, your brand.
That's it. It's just an LLC for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, can we got merchandise?
Merchandising.
Or do we have the the Miss Simmons shirts.
Tabitha, yeah, I have.
like that.
What's happening? Yeah, because everybody knows me from saying what's happening. That's how I first. That's how I greet my fans. As soon as they see me, it's what's happening. What's happening? So yeah, definitely with the what's happening. The 64 has got merchandise that's doing the exact same thing, but definitely my brand, what's happening. Yeah.
Good stuff. I always have to make sure we, pitch some stuff for people because, stuff out there, some different stuff out there.
Absolutely.
People have great brands, great things to offer, and a lot of times, again, that's what this show is about. Find some other stuff. Stop making millionaires and billionaires richer. Start to help somebody else get rich. How about that? You know what I mean? So.
Help somebody else get rich.
Yeah, help somebody else get rich.
Won't we just get rich first?
No, help us get rich.
Then help somebody else get rich.
No, that's my point. That's what I'm saying. That's the point.
Okay, help me get rich.
Right.
And then I help somebody else.
Yeah, we are them. That's what I'm saying. They should be helping somebody else get. We are somebody else.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. We are somebody else. They spend a lot of money on brand Jordan. Brand Jordan, Jay-Z, Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. How important is brand?
To me, not very. I didn't grow up with.
No.
I wouldn't say that it is. Not for me. No, I'm not like what.
Shocked right now.
Most people are.
Paralyzed.
Most people are, especially when it comes to me. Most people are.
Why though? Why do you say that? Why do you say brand is not that important to you?
For me, it's not. I mean, I like what I like. It doesn't have to be.
No. Okay, I guess I asked it wrong way.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
How important? how important? That's what I was saying. How important is your brand to you?
Right.
That's the question.
I knew what you answered.
How important was?
Yes,
that's what I meant because I'm speaking about branding in general.
Yes.
Your personal brand. How important is brand? Because I'm saying when we're talking to people out there in the world. And they're thinking about doing something. They have an identity that they need to create in order to get this leverage driven like that to build the momentum that you already have. So branding, how important is branding to you? Like
extremely important. Your brand is who you are. Your brand is a part of you.
Right.
It's what you're building. That's your foundation.
Right.
That's just that's your baby. That's
your
how
baby.
you look at that. That's how you view that. That's how you protect it. You don't allow people to come in and try to destroy it. You don't let people come in and try to mess it up or try to talk bad about it. Your brand is like your baby.
That's right.
That's what you're building.
That's what I look for. That's when you sit up and
you asked the fish water question.
Wait a minute.
Because you said how important is brand, and she answered like,
I did.
Now I don't have to, I ain't got to wear, the hottest brand.
Right.
I don't care nothing about that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. We actually had that conversation just today.
Yeah.
We had a conversation today? We were talking about brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We feel better if it's our own. We'll go and buy something generic and then outline it with our own brand on it, put our own brand on it. That automatically increases the value of it right there.
Instantly.
On that. We feel better about that than buying some Gucci or something.
And I think most people get confused with the fact of our personas. Half the people think that we go to the damn fish market in suits for some reason. They don't, because when we do our show, this is our show.
Right.
This is who we are.
Right.
You did not think that.
I did. I said they always in suits. I just said it.
See?
I just said it. They always in suits. They all the time. I said, hey, you'll be fine. Because he's like, well, should I change? I was like, no, but they always in suits, but it's okay. I watch. I pay attention.
Right. When we do the gentleman, anything that's gentleman style for the most part, this is the brand, it's the persona.
But
this is what we like.
But to our credit, when we dress down, we're still not really slouching.
I understand.
We don't
distinction.
For me, there are brands I rock with, but I don't have to have brands.
You don't have to have it.
Like,
I like the Jordan brand, but I'll wear some damn Converse in a heartbeat. That's my new thing. You know what I mean? So I'm if you got a good quality product, and that's anybody out there, you got a good quality product, I'll rock with you.
And then what is a brand anyway? Especially the big brands. What do they have? They have history behind it. They have longevity. People out there. That's the only Achilles heel that a lot of products out there that can't catch up with. When something has lineage behind it, that drives it because people it's already out there. It's in their head. Yeah. And like, that's the one to go to. And it may not. The generic may be just as good. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Matter of fact, Preach and I, we were out doing like some shopping one day just to show people how we buy stuff. This like a few years back, and we were in a store. And you know where I'm going with it. And we were looking at suits, and the owner of the store actually came. He was like, "Cause we were filming." He was like, "What you guys doing?" And we was like, "Oh, we filming, blah blah blah, and everything. We do this show, blah blah blah."
We didn't have suits on.
We didn't have suits on at the time. We were dressed down. We were just doing some low key undercover stuff. And then he saw it, and he was like, "Oh, okay, white guy, by the way." And he was telling us, he was like, "Yeah, you know, I get my suits from anywhere. He got the Sean Johns, you know, the name brand stuff in there." And he was like, "Yeah, you know, I get all these suits." He was like, "The Sean John, the Kenneth Coles, all this other stuff." He said, "All this stuff is made by the same manufacturer." He says, "Made by the same manufacturer." He gave us the name of the manufacturer, who it is, U.S. manufacturer and everything. It's the same cut. All it is it's got a different name on it. You know, they just go in and pick out whatever fabric they want, you know, done in. But it's all manufactured, the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. It's no different. So that just tells you, you can go out there, you can buy something that's just generic, do it however you want to do it. If you have the skills and you're good with your hands and you know you're up to the task, you got quality. It's the same thing. The only difference is the lineage, the history behind it.
Yeah,
that's the only difference in products.
Or the mega brand behind it. You know, somebody such as Diddy slaps his name on something.
It may not necessarily be good.
Yeah, but automatically, you know, people pay attention.
You think it's Highline because it's, but you know, that's half a dozen.
Absolutely. So, with everything that you kind of gone within your journey, what do you find has been the hardest thing, especially getting into radio?
I can't say that there was anything difficult. I really can't. I don't have an answer for that because it wasn't anything that was hard for me to do. I had met the right people. I had networked with my social circle. Had already contained people to put me in a position, so it really wasn't anything that I had to do. It wasn't a lot of legwork, it wasn't a lot of footwork, but behind the scenes, I would guess that maybe somebody behind the scenes with me that worked with me would be able to tell you, well, hell, I had to do this, make this kind of call. No, it was easy for her, but I had to make this kind of call. But it again, it goes with
taking advantage of the opportunity.
That's right. You just happen to be in the right place at the right time with the right people.
Well, again, that's your journey, and that's what this is all about. Everybody has to understand, and you just said it, you have to take advantage of the opportunity and identify the opportunities.
That's right.
I think a lot of people don't identify the opportunities they have. Somebody asks you to do something, you got 50,000 questions, and maybe you should, but at the same time, ask the right questions. Don't just ask questions just to be asking questions if you're seriously serious about something. So, I mean, that's, you know, what you're saying is just as good as, you know, everybody wants the sob story and the long hardship. It doesn't always happen like that for everybody, but it's still a journey, you know, networking, being in the right place at the right time, surrounding yourself with the right people, that's just as good. So,
absolutely.
You got anything else?
No, I just want you to look in that camera right there and tell them how they can reach out if they need you or anything that you'd like to say.
Absolutely. You can always find me on my Facebook where I go live and interact with all of my fans. And we have, like he was talking about earlier, we have the Wind Down Wednesday. I've got Motivational Mondays. And, you know, I have what I call the meat and potatoes. And that's where I motivate and inspire people and kind of take them through, you know, a personal journey towards getting better. And you can find me at Tabitha Simmons on Facebook, and of course I am also on Instagram at the Tabitha Simmons. So, and of course No Chill Radio. You can find me there on Mondays.
No Chill.
Yeah, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Is there a tagline of No Chill Radio? Okay.
No Chill Radio.
No Chill. I didn't know if it was like No Chill Radio, you know, something like that. I didn't know. I didn't know.
He's trying to get the job.
He's trying to see how he does.
Yeah,
he get that little voiceover working.
Hey man, it's
you know what I'm saying?
In there.
You know,
hey man,
get up in there. Okay.
This has been a great show.
Yeah.
Wonderful as always. I follow you. If you're not following Tabitha, go follow Tabitha.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, you'll be pleasantly surprised, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. So, with that being said, do what you do.
Well, you know how we always like to say it. There is no excuse for good taste Because
Involved in creates, we believe in God.
that's it. Until next time.
Peace.
That's one time.
What's what?
Yeah, I can hear him now. Shit.
GOS, the Gentleman Lifestyle Show.